Hey everyone, this is Corwin with Untitled.com, and today I'll be doing a tutorial on modeling the gingerbread men that you can see in the scene. Recently we did a contest where we made the scene, and the gingerbread men were a key part of that, so we're going to share with you how we did that. So starting with that, we'll go to Blender, and we'll delete the default cube. We'll go Shift-A to add a new object. We'll go to Empty, and we'll go to Image, so let an empty image in. We'll go to the object data here, and we'll open up the image we want. And so I'm just going to open a reference image for us to use. This is really quickly made in Photoshop, and the legs aren't quite all the way there, but we'll fudge it from that. And so press 7 to go to top view, 5 to go into orthographic, and we're just going to scale this up a little bit. So we're going to go press S to go scale. I'm going to scale this up by 4. And move it on the X by going G, then X, and -2. And then next we'll go Shift-A, add another object, we'll go to Mesh and Plane. And then with that, we'll tab into Edit Mode, press Z to go into wireframe, Control R to add one in the middle. The reason we're doing this is because later on we'll be mirroring the left side. I'm going to work on the left side. So we'll mirror that over to the right side. So we just need this middle seam so that it has something to reflect off of. And so let's move this up. I'll probably move it to the armpit here. I'll move this over to the armpit. And I'll select all these bottom faces by going Control and then looping around there. And I'll just move it up to about, I don't know, halfway up here. And the reason we're doing this is just so we can have enough subdivisions for our rigged armature. So we'll keep doing that. So we'll select all these bottom faces again. We'll extrude down on the Y. It's important we'll do it on the Y, just so that we can have a straight center line for the reflection. And same thing, select them all, extrude down on the Y. And one more, extrude on the Y. And next we'll do the arm, so we'll go and select all these top ones, and we'll extrude up on the Y, about there. Just gonna move this over to there, and then we'll just extrude these two out, and then we'll start getting them in place. Extrude it out again. And then starting to taper off here, so they'll get a little bit closer. And we'll do one more. And so we got the arm done now. Next we'll go do the head. So we'll take all these, let's take these two, extrude up on the Y, about halfway up the neck. And I'll just move this point over. And I'll take these two again and extrude up the Y, just to the base of the neck. And that'll give us the curve for the neck part of the head. And then we'll extrude this on the Y a couple times, and we'll do the head portion. Just down a little bit. And I'll keep doing that. Y. Just a few times to get the general shape of the head. Later we'll be doing a subsurf so that it gets a little bit smoother. But for now, we just need to get the basic outline of it. And one more should do. There and there. Alright, so you got the head part done. Now we just have to do the leg. So I'm going to add a loop cut. No. Going to extrude down. About here. I'm only doing a little bit at the start just so that we can get the groin area rounded off. just going to straighten these out a little bit here. Actually, I'm not going to do that at all. And so working from the legs here, we're going to go extrude this down on the Y. And we'll move it over to place. I'm just judging off this side here, and then I'll fix this side as we go. But to start, we'll just do a little bit, not a very large one, just so we can get the curve of the groin area here. This down a little bit. And we'll select these two, and we'll extrude down. And again, I'm just lining this up here, and then I'll fix this side after. There shouldn't be too much to fix because it's about the same. And extrude it down. We'll do one more. And then we'll taper off the foot. Let's go there, extrude a little bit, scale it in, and do it one more, and scale it in a little more. So, with that, we have the left side of the gingerbread man modeled. So we're going to tab out, and we'll select the empty we had, and we'll delete that. And we'll select this again, tab in, and we will select just the right side, these vertices here. We'll delete the vertices, select everything, and we'll add a mirror modifier. Make sure clipping's on, and at the center are clipped so you can do something like this, or they don't separate. And get that to where you want it. There. And so with that, we have our gingerbread man modeled. Well, at least the outline of it. So a little bit more of that. We're going to make it a cookie looking thing, I guess, eh? So we'll press A, we'll select that. Press 1 to go to front, and we'll just extrude that down on the Z to about the thickness of a cookie, about there. And so we have the depth. So now we have to imitate the bevel of the cookie, so the bottom will be a little more flat and the top will be more curved. The way we're going to do this is we're going to add some retaining edges. So we'll just go Control R here and put that a little closer to the bottom, around there. And we'll go Control R again. We'll just leave that right there. That way this one will get a little more smooth and this one not so much. To show what I mean, we will go add the modifier and go to subsurf, and let's crank that to 2, and we'll throw smooth shading on now as well. So as you can see, now it's smooth. It's a little smoother on the top and flatter on the bottom, so we're happy with that, but we still have to add a couple more edges in. So we're going to add one through the middle here. This will just give us some flexibility with our rig once we have it rigged. And we'll throw one here, just a retaining edge. You can see on the right side near the armpit it moving a little bit. This just gives us a little bit of a tighter edge for the corner there. So I'll put it around there. And yeah, pretty happy with that. Maybe move these top vertices up a bit. Just around the head off a little more. Yeah, so now we got that. And so we have our gingerbread man modeled now. Next up, we're going to, along the bottom here, we'll take this outer edge. Let's go to edge mode. And we'll take the bottom edge here. Press N and changing the increase to 1. As you can see, I'll show you right here. If you look at the legs, as I'm changing the mean increase, it's changing how much it's beveled. So change that to 1 because that's on the pan, so it's flatter out now. Also, while we have this selected, we will mark the seam by mark seam here because the back will be a different texture than the front. So we'll get our seams marked now for what we're going to be doing. So I will go, just going to hide this from view right now by clicking the eye on there. And so we're going to mark the seam in the groin here by selecting these edges. Trying to see if I haven't selected. Select these three. There we go. And we'll mark the seam there. And we'll select the base of the foot here on either side. Mark that. Go in the armpit. And we'll mark that as a seam. Base of the hands as well. And the neck here. So have our seams marked as well. So next we'll go here, tab out, we'll apply our mirror modifier, tab back in, you see it's applied over on the other side too. And so we're going to go pull this out, we'll change this window to a UV image editor, and we'll select all this. First we'll change the name of the plane, actually we should probably do that. So we'll change this to Gingerbread Man. And then we will go and we'll select our materials too right here before we do the unwrapping. So we'll just do that. New material. Switch to the cycles renderer, and we'll call this Gingerbread Top. And then since we have this C marked, it'll allow us to go just select a face here. If we press L, Alright, so since we have the C marked here, if we select this face and just press L, it'll select everything within that seam. We'll go add a new material, call this Gingerbread Bottom, and just click assign. And just to show the difference, we'll change the color in the viewport to this warmer color so you can see that they're different colors, so you know where the seams are, or which material is what. Next we will go and we'll just unwrap it all. So go U, unwrap, and we can see over here that's unwrapped. So we'll do the same thing, we'll just select the vertice. This is the back side obviously. Just press L and we'll move it over top of here. They're two different textures, so you can just have them scale the same on the map here so that the size of them stay the same. So select everything, we'll just scale this up. It's the tile texture, we can go over the square area here. Next we'll go and we'll set up our materials. Well, I guess we haven't set up. Next we'll do the materials. So we'll move this back over, make that full. Change this to a node editor. And then we'll set up the nodes for it. So we'll start with Gingerbread Top. Click Use Nodes. And we'll go, let's move this up a little bit more so we can see. Shift A, Input, Texture Coordinate. And we'll go Shift A, and we will add Texture, Image Texture. And we'll duplicate this through 2 more times. So go Shift D twice. We'll move the UV into the vector for all of these. And I'm just going to press Control. Nope. So I'm just put the UV into the vector of all these. I'm just going to press Shift, draw a line over this. I'm just going to do this fancy thing here where they all come from this node here. So with that done, we can go and we're going to change this to our spec map for the top. So if we go Open, go to our textures. I have my front mats here, and this is going to be our specular map. And if we open this, this is going to be our diffuse map. So that's the second one there. And the bottom one will be our bump map. So if we go back, bump. So we got all that set up. What else do we have to do? We'll put the color of our diffuse into the diffuse map, or diffuse shader rather, and we'll go Shift A. We'll add a Glossy Shader, and we'll Shift A, add a Mix Shader, and we'll just pop that on top here, throw this into the bottom part, and I'll put the color into the factor from our spec map. And then lastly we will go and we'll add a math node, or converter, sorry, and then math. And we'll feed the color into the value here, change this to multiply, and we'll throw this into the displacement of our material. And so this is what it's going to look like. We'll have to change some settings here as we go, but if we go to our world tab, go use nodes, and we'll change this to a sky texture, and then we'll go into our rendered viewport. We can now see our gingerbread man is starting to take some form here. We'll rotate him on the X by 90. X by 90. Go back to rendered, sorry. And we can see we sort of have a texture going on here, for the front at least. But we cannot. Oh, we'll go back and we'll add the modifier so we can see this. See, I'm looking all smooth. Let's go back to rendered, and he's smoothed out, but we can't quite see how our bump's looking. So go back to the world, change the strength to 5. You can see a little bit better now. Last thing we're gonna do is press Z again, Shift A, and we're gonna add a sun lamp. I'm gonna change the size to 0.5, and change the strength to about well, I'll show you what it is. So go rendered, and we have the sun lamp here. We still can't quite see how the texture is reacting, so we'll change the strength to 20, and that'll allow us to see our bump pretty easily. So it's looking pretty good. Tweak some settings a little bit though. So we'll go to our gingerbread man, and we'll change the roughness of our gloss to about 2.3. So a little bit glossy, a little less glossy rather. We'll change our multiply value to 2. A little too much. 1.5. Yeah, that's looking better. And yeah, I think that'll be good for our front. So we have the front texture done for our gingerbread man. It looks a little extreme just because the way the sunlight is, it's really showing off the shadows and the bump, but that'll be good. And then we'll go to our back. So the setup will be exactly the same actually. So we'll go Shift A, texture coordinate, image texture, Shift D, do the duplicate 3 times, feed the UV into the vectors, do shift and the line across all those to do that. And we'll go open up. This time we'll go the back materials. So the top one will be our specular map again. Bottom one will be, or middle one rather, will be our diffuse. And the bottom one will be our bump. And then the same thing, we'll go put a mix shader in here. This will feed into the color. We'll add a glossy shader, which will feed into the bottom of here. Our specular map will feed into the factor. And we will add a converter math node. Change that to multiply again, and then feed that into the displacement. And if we rotate around, we can see our back now has a texture. You don't have to be nitpicky about this, but we're going to do this anyways. So we're going to go ZZ out. We'll select this face, press L. We're going to open up our UV editor again. And since it's sideways like this, we got lines running up and down for our gingerbread man. I'd prefer to have them sideways. You'll see in the texture a little bit better in a second here. So we're just going to go over here and we're going to rotate it by 90. And that'll fix our problem. And so we'll go back, make this all one big one, go to rendered, and you can see now they're straight across. And so we're just going to tweak the colors a little bit more. Not the colors, we're going to tweak our settings just a little bit. And so change our roughness for the back to 0.1 in the glossy department. And we'll do the same thing for our multiply, 1.5. And that'll be about it. Yeah, that's what we need. So, yeah. So our gingerbread man's all textured. But he's looking pretty boring, right? He doesn't have his gumdrops or some icing face and stuff like that. So we're gonna add those in. So I'll go back to solid, bring this down a bit, and how about we work on a different layer for this? So we'll do our gumdrops now. So we'll center our cursor by going space. We'll search up center. I'll snap cursor to center. We'll go Shift A, add a mesh, a circle. I'm going to change the vertex count here to 12, 16. Yeah, change 16, and we'll tab in edit mode. And we'll go to vertex mode here, just in case you're not in that already. And we'll press E to extrude, right to snap that back. And we'll scale it in. Do that twice. And just press F to throw a face there. Now we're going to work our way up for the jube here. So I'll press E to extrude up, Z. I'll scale this out just so we can get the bevel a little bit. And I'll extrude that on the Z again, up a little bit more, scale it in, and then we'll add the top here, so we'll extrude it on the Z, scale it in, extrude on the Z, some more. F to just throw a face on the top. So we got our jube here. Next we're just going to add smooth shading to it. And we'll give it a subsurface as well. So we'll go subdivision surface, and there we go. So then we'll go press M to move to the first layer with our gingerbread man. And so we're going to put that on him. So we'll rotate on the X by 90. And I'll scale it down so it looks about the right size on him. So about there. So it looks about right for you guys. 3 to go to the right view. And we'll just push that back until it's on him. Like so. So we got one jube on them. Throw the other one on. So we'll go Shift D to duplicate. Let's move it up on the Z. And we got the second one on now. So we got our jubes on. So we'll rename those in our objects here. So gumdrop and gumdrop 2. And we'll go start with the material for this. So we'll go to the materials here, add a new material, and we'll call this gumdrop. And same thing for this. Let's click here to go to our other ones, make that gumdrop as well, and then we'll do the nodes for it. So we'll add a glossy to start, shader, glossy shader, and then we'll add a refraction shader and a mix shader, and we'll feed those into the shader portions. We want it to be sort of red. Ooh. So we're gonna make a red gumdrop, so I'll throw this red, but a little bit lighter because this is our glossy part, the reflective part. And we'll change the roughness to 0.7-ish, for now at least. And then up here, we'll make this the red part, this will be the color of our jube, around there. Roughness of 0.3, don't want it this perfectly glossy. And an IOR value of, we're doing some research, and 2.3 gave us the best result. Last we're going to add a Fresnel, so we'll go input, Fresnel, into a color and a mix RBG, and we'll throw the faction into here of 1, change the IOR to 3.7, the faction on here to 0.6, and the color to black, and we'll just feed the color of this into the faction on the mix shader, throw that into the surface, and if we go into rendered, our gumdrop's done. And so with that, we're nearing the end. He's looking a little bland without his face. So we'll go back into solid. We'll add 2. We'll do the icing first. So we'll go Shift A. And we'll add a curve, Bezier. I'll rotate on the X by 90. And we'll just work with this curve for now for our hands and feet. So we'll go tab in. And just play around with the handles a bit to get the shape we like. Not gonna do anything too complicated. Just like that for now. And we'll go to the curve panel here. Make sure it's 3D. With the fill, we'll go full. And then we're gonna change the depth to 0.2. No, 0.02. A little bit more. .04 we'll go with. Tab out, scale it down a bit. About there. And next, since we're in object mode, we'll go object. We'll select it on the Bezier. Convert to, and we'll convert it to mesh. And we'll tab in. Get the ends here by going Alt right click on the vertex, and then press F to just draw the face. Same thing on the other side. Tab back out, and then we'll just throw it on the gingerbread man. So we'll put that in place. Up there. And we'll just duplicate that for the arms and legs, or the other leg. So go Shift D, we'll move it over on the X to spot. And Shift D again. Move it up here, rotate it, scale it down a bit more. And Shift D one more time, rotate it the other way. And we got our icing on there. So just change the name of the curves to which section it corresponds to. So this will be the left hand icing. The eyebrows now. Let's go Shift A, curve, Bezier, rotate it on the X by 90, and we'll tab in, and we'll select this handle here and rotate it by 45, just so we get a straight line here to work with. Move this point towards the middle, and bring this one in a little more. So we're just going to make the eyebrows right now. So we'll take these two outside handles, move them down to get a curve, put the inside ones a little bit until we get what we like, and go something like that. Tweak it a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. And same thing, we'll do fill, full. The depth we had before was 0.04. And we'll tab out, go to object, convert that to mesh, tab back in, Alt right click on the vertex, and I'll draw the faces on the edges there. I go back to front view, pressing 1, tab out, scale this down to the size we want, and we'll just throw it on the gingerbread man where we want to place them. There. Yeah. Move that back into place. Like so. And then we'll duplicate this. Go in Shift D. Bring it over on the X. And we'll rotate it on the Z by 180 degrees. And yeah, so we got their eyebrows on there. And so since these are all going to be the same kind of icing, we will since they're all going to be the same kind of icing, we'll go add another material, call this icing, and then we'll assign that to the other ones. Icing. Why don't we just go ahead and set up the material for this. So we'll go with the diffuse, press Control, and we'll cut this, bring the diffuse over here. We'll add a translucent shader. And a mix shader. Glossy shader, and lastly one more mix shader. Right there. So we'll put the connect the diffuse to the mix shader here, translucent to this one as well. Put this mix shader into the top of this mix shader, glossy into the bottom of the mix shader, and then finally we'll connect the mix shader to our output. Since this is vanilla icing, we're going to add a nice little bit of like a warm hue to it. something like that. Yeah, somewhere around there. And then we'll go change the factor to 0.2 in this first one. Change the roughness of our glossy shader to 0.3. And we'll change this mix shader to 0.3 as well. So if we go to render, you can see what our icing looks like. Looking all pretty. Last thing we gotta do is add some eyeballs. Just do those Coke balls. We'll add a red mouth, and then we're ready to rig it. So we'll go add the icing now. Let's go back to solid. Same thing, we'll go Shift A. Do a curve, Bezier. Rotate it on the X by 90. Tab into that. We'll select this handle here. Rotate it by 45. Get that straight line again. And then we'll move it to the center. Move this one to the left a little bit. And then same thing, we'll get the curve we'd like. So move that up. Make our smile. Change these around a bit. So we're happy with what we got. And we can just connect them by going like this. We'll just do a regular smile. Controls of that. And then we'll go to the curve panel, fill, full, depth 0.04. Enter on that, tab out, go to the object again, convert that to a mesh. What are all these? Oh, rename these as well. Left eyebrow, right eyebrow. This will be our mouth. Let's move that. Scale it down into place with what we want. Put it right there. Move it back onto our gingerbread man, like so. And then we'll make our material for this. So go on new material, call it mouth icing. Change that to red. I know why it wasn't working before. We'll add our transparent. That's a lie. We'll add our translucent. Add our mix shader. Add our glossy shader. And we'll add our last mix shader. Connect her all together. Change this. Around a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Now we got our mouth on there. It's all finished up. So we just changed the diffuse to a red color, our glossy to a reddish reflection color, and then translucent to just a little more pink. So that's what we did with the mouth. So the last step we got before we can rig is adding the eyes in. Let's go back to solid. And these are really simple. Let's go Shift A, mesh, UV sphere. Change the segments to 12 and the rings to 8. And we'll just go smooth. And we'll add a subsurf onto there. And we'll scale it down until we got about the size we want. Put it there, wherever we want it. We'll move it back to the mesh, and we'll just can duplicate it, Shift D, move it on the X in the spot. So we got them both in the spot. We'll name them eyes, so this will be our right eye, left eye, change this to 2 as well. And then we'll do our material for this as well. So we'll go to material, new, eye, and this will be as simple as just going to glossy, which is somewhere, there it is. Let's go to rendered. The glossy's, let's change the color to gray, kind of coke ball gray. Just a little bit of roughness, 0.1 or so. So we got our coke ball eye, and then let's apply that to this one as well. So let's go to the eye. There we go. Don't need to start anymore. Yeah, leave it there. So now we got our texturing all finished up, we'll go back to solid, and now we're going to add our armature in. So we'll go, first we have to go to File, User Preferences, and we have to enable the Rigify modifier. So we'll search Rigify, let's probably spell it right, Rig, I got Rigify right here, just click check on that, we'll close that. And then we'll go Shift A, go to Armature, Human, I'll bring that in here. So we're going to do a couple things here to start. Go to Edit Mode, and delete the hands. So we can go C, select all the hands there. Delete the bones. Same thing with this side. Delete the bones. And the feet we don't need either. So we'll just select all these. So now we got the parts we need, so we'll move them into place. Select it all, scale it up, our pelvis there. First actually, let's put this on another layer quickly. Going to select all these. Making sure we select the Gingerbread Man last. Oop. Yep. I'm gonna go Alt J. I'll just join them so they're all one object now. As you can see, we just got our Gingerbread Man. They're all connected to him. Life's good. So then we'll go back to put us on the first layer. And now we can get to rigging. So what we're going to do is pull out one. So we got our front view here. And then we'll make this our right view. We'll go to Edit Mode on the rig. Click the X Mirror Modifier. Well, not modifier, but just the X-axis mirror. So what we do on the one side will happen to the other side. And we'll just move them up, rotate them, scale down until we get the general size and position of our bones. I'll keep a slight bend in there just so when it goes to figure out our rig, it will have a little bit easier time because it'll have the bend in the natural bend in the body. And then we'll do the arm. Shoulders will lower. Oh yeah, just one sec here. Let's start this over quickly. So tab out, change the origin to geometry, just in case it moved around. And then we'll tab in edit mode. And we'll just move these around to where we need shoulder be around there. So just scale and move it around to the joints of your body. Scale it down. And we'll keep the bend that's in the arm. It'll just help it when it's figuring out the envelopes. It'll just kind of help the rigify modifier there. Those are good. Move our leg up. Up there. And on this side we'll just move everything back into zip place. Looks good to me. So with that we will go tab out, and now we can test our rig. So first we'll go here, and then we will select the rig. And we'll go Control P, Armature Deform. Select the armature. Go to pose mode. And with that, we are able to move it around. And then once we're in pose mode, we're able to select the individual bones and rotate them as we need. So you can do all sorts of fun things. As you can see. So then you're able to pose your gingerbread man whichever way you'd like and do fun stuff with it. So yeah, with that will be. And so that'll be the end of our tutorial here. So we showed you how to model our gingerbread man and the accessories on it. We textured them and also made materials for the accessories in Gingerbread Man, and we applied a rig to it. So with that, we will also be providing the the textures for the front and the back for you guys on the website or on YouTube through a link. And with that, this is Corwin Smith from Tech Tyro, and we'll see you guys later.